Alrighty, hello everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. Today we'll be sharing out the final presentations and pitches for MIT Hacking Medicine Pitch Competition. Over the past 2 days, participants have been going through our hacking process. So on Monday, we connected with other participants and built teams. And then we spent the past 2 days iterating, getting feedback from mentors. And today we'll be pitching to judges and then finally celebrating our award winners. So very excited to see what everyone has built. As a reminder, if you're new to this, the judging criteria for today includes impact. So what are the real world problems teams are solving? Is there potential for widespread impact? And does the solution meet the identified problem? Innovation, so are these new and convincing solutions? Do they address different ways that they can impact certain stakeholders? And do they consider the entirety of the user experience? We're also interested in business models. So is this sustainable? Is there a plan for it to work in the field? As well as presentation, so considering effectiveness and diversity of teams. Our first team is Medibridge. We'll be welcoming you up to the stage shortly, so get ready, you're on deck. But first, we'd like to move forward with introducing the judges. So the judges, if you'd like to briefly introduce yourselves.
Test. Hi, I'm Nicholas Kwok. I'm faculty at Harvard Medical School. I practice internal medicine at Beth Israel Deaconess Medical Center in Boston.
Hi, I'm Robert Parks. I'm a curriculum designer for MIT App Inventor, and I've been with MIT for 5 years.
Hi, Takahiro Yatsu from Japan, Elderink. I'm looking forward your presentation. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much to our judges for joining us today. Now, Team 109, Medibridge, if you'd like to come up, and then Team 106, Dental Detect, if you'd like to come up and sit in maybe the second row so you're ready on deck. Yes, so feel free to come forward, Team 109. Perfect, thank you. And as a reminder, these presentations are 3 minutes each with 2 minutes for Q&A from judges. We'll have the time being kept right up here where Annabelle's sitting. She'll give you a finger when there's 1 minute left, so you'll know, okay, there's 1 minute, time to wrap things up. But yes, and then here's a clicker, so you can click through.
Hello everyone, I'm Alina.
My name is Alice.
I'm Audrey.
I'm Rin. I'm Karen Kochi. Imagine you've recently moved into a new country. You know enough English for everyday conversation, but during a doctor's appointment, the doctor begins explaining your diagnosis using unfamiliar phrases and even translation apps. Some phrases are translated literally, and medical jargon is still difficult to understand. This challenge is faced by many patients with limited English proficiency. Language barriers and inaccurate translation can make it difficult to communicate symptoms and understand treatment.
For example, in Mandarin, the phrase 我上火了 doesn't literally mean I'm on fire. It means inflammation, but general translation often miss the intended meaning.
These misunderstandings can make it harder for doctors to understand their patients and for patients to understand their care.
To solve these problems, we developed a real-time voice translation app for medical communication. Our app automatically detects when one person finishes speaking, translates the conversation, and reads the translation out loud. It also includes pre-translated emergency medical phrases to help patients and healthcare providers communicate more clearly.
This slide shows the main interface of our app. At the top is where the user can pick 2 languages before starting the conversation. Once the conversation begins, the app automatically listens and translates in real time. The What We Hear sections display the original speech, the translation section shows the translated results, and simple English notes provide a more simple version of the complex medical terms or cultural expression. Together, these features make medical conversation faster, easier to understand, and more convenient for both patients and the healthcare providers.
Our app uses two models working together. Whisper 1 converts spoken language into text, while GPT 5.4 Mini translates the conversation and simplifies medical language into plain English. To improve accuracy, we included a list of commonly mistranslated Chinese terms in our prompt. In the future, we hope to fine-tune a model on medical vocabulary and culturally specific phrases instead of relying on a manually created list.
In the future, we plan to expand our medical vocabulary and add support for more languages.
We also aim to improve the app's design and user experience to make healthcare communication even more accessible and intuitive. Thank you.
I noticed you used GPT 5.4 Mini. Is that one that is on device? It fits in the phone itself?
No, it isn't.
Okay. Do you have any plans for, would it, and I'm not even sure, but would it increase privacy to have a model that just was working inside the phone?
Yeah, it would.
Good answer. Thank you.
Have you thought about what might happen if the app did not translate something correctly? So if I'm the doctor and I say something and the app mistranslates what I say, who is responsible for that?
This would actually happen because we tested it multiple times, and it does happen when we tested it. So I guess for now, maybe the doctor had to say again, but maybe in the final version, I think we will think of a better solution, or we just increase the accuracy.
My English isn't very good either. So I thought this app was very important. It might also be interesting to collaborate with insurance companies.
Okay, thank you.
So to go back to the problem. So what do you know about the current ways that doctors try to talk to people who speak other languages, and how is that different from what you're trying to do?
Okay, so there's usually a few ways. The first is like Google Translator, but then we realized, just like the example I just gave in the problem slide, so sometimes we would like mistranslate some medical terms, and sometimes like even though they translated, it's still very hard for the patients to read. And for the kind of the iPad translator where there's like actual people who translate it for them, but sometimes like it can wait very long time for someone to pick up, and sometimes very laggy, and also the translator might have a strong accent and may be unclear.
Thank you.
Great, thank you so much. Next, we have Team 106, Dental Detect, and then Team 104, if you'd like to come up here and sit in the second row, you're on deck.
So, hi guys, I'm Cody. I'm Ethan. And we have another teammate, Alvin, who worked too hard last night, so he couldn't make it today. So, I'm going to start off. Oral disease is a major global problem, is a major global health issue. Around 4 billion people worldwide suffer from untreated dental conditions. One major reason is a shortage of dental professionals. Low-income countries have far fewer dentists than the recommended level by the World Health Organization, making regular screenings and preventative care difficult to access. Underprivileged communities are affected most. More than 40% of lower income people in the US suffer from untreated dental diseases, and symptom-driven visits can be more than 26 times more common than preventative visits.
By leaving them untreated, dental conditions can lead to tooth loss, reduced quality of life, and higher treatment costs compared to receiving early care. This shows the need for an accessible, low-cost way for people to screen for potential oral health issues and know when to seek professional dental care.
This is why we decided to make Dental Detect, an AI-powered app that uses PIC, the personal image classifier, to detect dental issues with your teeth, along with a chatbot to recommend further action, such as what toothpaste to use or if you need to visit the dentist. Currently, our system can categorize these tooth issues above. All three of these may be difficult to detect due to their seemingly mild symptoms, but can quickly lead to much more severe issues. Thus, it is important to diagnose these diseases early to prevent them from progressing. So to start, you can either take a picture with your teeth or upload it from your device. Let's just say I took this picture with my teeth. Using the image classifier, it will detect these issues along with a confidence score. And you can also ask a chatbot about this issue, and it will give you further advice on how to treat it.
The app also has a dentist finder function, which allows users to locate a nearby dentist by putting an address, and they can also filter by the type of insurance accepted, such as Medicare or Medicaid, and also filter by the language spoken at the dentistry. So for example, they can filter for speaking English, Spanish, Chinese, Hindi, etc.
For future work, we would allow users to potentially remotely schedule with volunteer dentists, providing accessible guidance without the need to travel. We would also develop an appointment booking feature that helps users locate and book people with nearby registered hospitals and also dentists who have signed up to use the platform. Thank you for listening. And we really hope Dental Detect can make early dental screening more accessible and more affordable. Thanks.
Okay, thank you for your presentation. How do you plan to spread this app so that many people can use it? Please tell us the first step you have in mind.
Yeah, that's a great question. So first we decided to do it in our local communities. So that's like reaching out to dental clinics and like health organizations to sponsor us, for us to like spread the app to these communities. And this in turn could help benefit them by helping them reach more customers that they couldn't connect with before.
Okay, thank you.
I don't know much about dentistry, but in your research, did you find that there were some ailments or problems that could, when addressed early, could be easily fixed? Would that be a great way for the app to provide an earlier diagnosis?
Yeah, so our app currently works on a few diseases and like issues, and these diseases are like very mild, and they could eventually develop into these serious diseases that can be more painful and even more costly than if you just did it earlier. So that would help them save money by treating it and diagnosing it earlier.
So one question I had was about the follow-up recommendations. So you chose to use a chatbot for giving follow-up recommendations. Why did you choose that instead of simply, specific instructions depending on the disease? Because you only have 3 diseases.
Okay, I'll answer. So we plan to expand to more diseases, and of course there'd be more considerations. And because this is just a prototype, there isn't. We plan to add like them chatting with the chatbot to ask more details about it. So for example, do I need to visit the dentist for this issue, or like specific treatment plans? And that with the chatbot involved, we can just have them have a one-on-one conversation to like a quote-unquote medical professional, like chatbot.
Thank you.
Great, thank you so much. So next up is Team 104, Augur Allergy. Coming up is Team 108, RxBridge. So if you'd like to come down and sit in the second row, that would be great. All right, so I've got this. Annabelle's going to be keeping time, and she'll let you know.
Do you guys want to? Hello, everyone. Today we are presenting Augur Allergies, which makes people with allergies' lives easier. Here's our table of contents. So first we have motivation, then we have problem statement, then we have the 5 W's, and we have a solution, and then we have business model.
Around the world, 25% of people have allergies, and when your allergy number goes low enough, or your whole IgE, you're eligible for an oral food challenge, which is a short challenge that feeds you small doses of food to check whether or not you've outgrown your allergy. But these oftentimes take upwards of 3 to 6 hours, and 1 in 5 food tests fail. These may seem like a small number, but it is estimated that 16,000 food or oral food challenges happen in the US alone every month.
So here's a problem statement. Over 32 million people live with life-threatening allergies, and all of them have to take this food test. When they've outgrown them, they require food tests to check whether they've outgrown them. This traps family in clinics for 6 agonizing hours, tying up for vital nurses and driving up month-long backlists. What if we could predict that 6-hour outcome for the future?
So here are the 5 W's. So for WHO, it's patients with food allergies, along with allergists and other healthcare providers who need to determine whether an oral food challenge is appropriate for the patient. For what? It's an AI-powered application that analyzes the existing test results, and it's able to predict the likelihood of passing a future oral food challenge. For when, it's usually before scheduling or performing an oral food challenge. For where, it's in allergy clinics, hospitals, and other healthcare environments. And lastly, for why, it's to reduce the unnecessary food challenges, which can save time and stress for the patients and also the clinicians. So our solution, Augur Allergy, uses machine learning to train an AI model that predicts the results of food allergen tests by learning patterns from the patient's existing testing data. This allows for faster decision making. It reduces the testing time, has the potential to make food allergen screening more efficient and accessible for everyone.
So what inputs do we require for the model? First, we need basic demographics, things like their age and their gender. Then we need the skin prick test result. After that, we need the total IgE levels and then food-specific IgE levels for things like proteins. After that, there's comorbidities, things like eczema and asthma. Finally, there's high and low protein risks to identify. Then there's a solution flowchart. It starts out as a user begins filling in all the inputs that the machine learning model needs. This is sent to the machine learning model as it begins to evaluate the future outcome, whether it's a 0 for fail or a pass for 1.
So how do we plan to implement Augur Allergy in the real world? Well, we first plan to conduct a test study with open source data from websites like PubMed that allow us to accelerate clinical validation and build trust. Then we would like to release a freer tier web-based version of the app so clinicians can use it, and this way we'll build an organic user base that will act as our internal advocates. Finally, afterwards, we'll launch a tool directly on hospital networks such as Epic Connection Hub and Oracle Cerner that allow hospitals and enterprises to use our tools easily. We'd finally like to launch a patient app that allows patients to do it at home. So how we plan to monetize Augur Allergy? First, we would like to start with subscription tiers where private clinics can pay based on monthly fees, enterprises where they can pay based on usage, and pro features in the app. Key return on investments for Augur Allergy. So what's in it for our customers? Clinics and hospitals reduce the agonizing wait time and long backlists. It converts unpredictable, high-risk oral food challenges into streamlined and high-probability testing windows. For families, it reduces the agonizing moments waiting 6 hours in a hospital room, and insurance companies have to pay less for emergency rooms if there is a reaction.
So to conclude, we have 3 key takeaways. The first is faster care. Oral food challenges are essential for diagnosing food allergies, and they are also really time-consuming, costly, and they can be stressful for the patients. So with Augur Allergy, we provide evidence-based predictions for future oral tests, which can cause faster care for the patients. The second takeaway is smarter predictions. Patients already undergo skin prick tests and blood IgE tests. Yet the results are interpreted without a simple way to estimate food challenge outcomes. So with Augur Allergy, we transform these data into meaningful predictions which support decision making. And lastly, we have better decisions. Augur Allergy is designed for as a clinical decision support tool, not a replacement for physicians. So by combining these predictive analytics with risk assessments, it helps allergists prioritize patients, improve workflow efficiency, and have more informed discussions with families while keeping the final the final medical decision in the hands of healthcare professionals. Thank you for listening.
What got you interested in the idea of allergies, and is there any personal connection?
Yeah, so me personally, I have a lot of allergies, and I also know of some of my friends also have like different allergies that really affects their lives, because especially one example is like when you go outside for vacation, it may be hard to find a place to eat, and it takes like a lot of time, so it's like kind of a personal problem for me, so that's why.
So this is a great problem to tackle. In terms of your proposed solution, so it sounds like you're trying to basically personalize that 3 to 6 month testing window. That's standard for allergists. What data have you looked into or seen already that suggests that those factors you named do predict different testing windows for different patients?
So there's a study online where I forgot what their names were, but 5 researchers took 429 entries from a hospital, and they looked at what specific values correlated the most to the outcome of the oral food challenge. So they found that, if I go back to the slide, they found that oftentimes it was obviously going to be total IgE, but stuff like comorbidities such as having asthma and eczema highly increased your chances of getting failing your food challenge.
And was there any data in terms of the timing, like a change in the length of time? Let's say 9 months someone might pass as opposed to 3 months rather than the binary prediction?
No, our tool does not handle that, and we did not look into any research concerning that.
Thank you for your presentation. If you have thought about it, please tell us. What organization do you think you should work with to make a bigger impact? What is the first small step you plan to take?
So as I mentioned before, we first want to start by making a free version of the app online for clinicians to use. Once we get clinicians, some major organizations we'd like to partner with is stuff like the Epic Center, Epic Hub, and Oracle Cerner. These are big companies that allow enterprises to directly integrate hospital software into their hospitals so it can easily link to databases and improve the efficiency of the app for the hospital, for the patients, for the clinic.
Thank you.
Great, thank you so much, Team Allergy. Next up, we have Team 108, RxBridge. So please come on up. And then we have Team 101, Digital Divas on deck. If you'd like to come forward and sit in the second row right there, that would be great. So Team 108. Great, we've got this. Annabelle will be keeping time up front, and we'll let you know when there's 1 minute left.
Sure. Is it okay if I also use a computer?
Yeah, go for it.
I might just use that. Hello, everyone. My name is Justin Wong. My partner, Jonathan, is unfortunately catching his flight right now because he lives in DC. So we are Team RxBridge. So actually, let me just ask you guys, how many of you know someone or have a family member who lives in some sort of rural community? Anyone? Okay, so good number of people. So this is actually, we created this app based on a family or a friend, or it's a personal experience for Jonathan's family. So he had a family member, or no, a family friend who moved to a rural area, and when he moved there, he had less access to emergency healthcare, and he had an experience with prescription medication where he had an issue that led to broader health complications because of his limited access to professional healthcare. And this app matters because in the United States, this is actually also a pretty big issue. So the CDC reported that 1 in 5 new prescriptions are never filled, and that 50% of filled prescriptions are taken incorrectly. And this can lead to serious healthcare complications for the people who take them incorrectly. And that's where we come in. So I'm going to play a demo of our app, and this is an RX scanner that takes a medication bottle and it scans the medication and then tells you details about it. So, yeah, I think that should be playing.
This is your prescription for atorvastatin calcium, a medication used to lower cholesterol levels in your blood. You need to take 1 tablet by mouth daily at night as directed. It's important to follow the instructions for optimal results.这是您的阿托伐，它停改处方，这是一种用于降低血液单谷醇水平的药物。您需要按照知识每天晚上口服1片，请遵循说明以获得最佳效果。如果您出现
That's actually information on how you're supposed to take the medication. And the thing is, that's actually not fully my partner's voice. That's actually a voice clone of him speaking. He didn't pre-record those voice lines. So we also have a chatbot. So this would allow for patients to analyze symptoms or have conversations with chatbot to learn okay, what are ways that I'm supposed to take this medication? Are there any issues if I take 2 different types of medications? And it can just answer questions when they don't have proper access to a healthcare provider. Additionally, there will be reminders, and just like I demonstrated in that video, this feature also incorporates voice. So this can be especially helpful for senior citizens or people who tend to trust their family members more than just an app. And obviously, it's not going to be fully. The app will state that it's not actually this person speaking. It's gonna be clear that it's a digital voice, but this can also help people who may have issues trusting these kinds of apps. So additionally, this app also can have connections to a person's healthcare provider if they do need to communicate with them about something. And in this example, it's Dr. Smith. And for a summary, our app is going to be helpful for providing reminders, allowing people to get better understanding of their medication, and also good practices to prevent the health issues that I mentioned earlier. Thank you so much, and let us know if you had any questions. I think I forgot the roles here, but we both worked on coding this app and the presentation.
Thanks very much. Great presentation. In your testing, how reliable was the chatbot in giving accurate information?
I'd say it's generally pretty reliable. We double checked it, although because we had limited time to test it, we didn't encounter any large issues, but maybe further testing would reveal something. So far, I think everything is all right.
What could you do to the technology to make it more accurate?
I'd just say continue testing. If any major issue comes up, maybe changing the prompt or specifying to make sure that, or maybe even connecting it to a medical database with techniques like retrieval augmented generation, or something just to improve accuracy, so that to give it more domain knowledge, or just to avoid specific issues that may arise.
So I have two questions. So building on that, what was the underlying technology for generating the voice from
Yeah, that's actually 11 Labs. So it's a voice cloning platform. And it's actually something that we've worked with previously. So we just decided to incorporate it here because some senior citizens do tend to have less skill with technology, or they tend to trust it less. So by incorporating a family voice, although with a disclaimer obviously, so that they don't become overly dependent on it, it can help foster more trust and just allow them to have better interactions with the app.
And is that platform deterministic or probabilistic? More like generative AI probabilistic or deterministic system?
Wait, do you mind specifying more on the differences between?
Is there an algorithm that can be troubleshooted underneath the hood, or is it more like a very large deep learning model that's much harder to troubleshoot?
Actually, that's more like Jonathan's specialty, but it can be adjusted in different ways, if you want things to be less realistic or
Got it.
Yeah.
So that builds to my next question, which is if there were errors, right? So someone goes home, uses that on a medication bottle, and it gives them wrong instructions. Who's responsible for that result?
So if you say the app gives them wrong instructions. That's actually a good question. Could be on the AI, could be on us. I haven't actually thought about that too much, but with enough testing, obviously we're going to continue testing to make sure that issues like that will hopefully not come up, because obviously medication is pretty iffy. It's really easy to go wrong there.
This is a similar question, but how do you plan to spread this app so that many people will use it? What is your first step to make that happen?
So you're asking how do I plan to make this app more widely used or tested? Well, so I'll just answer both questions because that's my interpretation of it. But to make it more widely used and tested, it would obviously need more support from our community. For example, we could have more people who test it with maybe a medication that they pick up at the local pharmacy, or just in general, it would be tested locally, and then it could be expanded to a larger pool of testers and also people who may be using the app. And that's the plan for expansion and testing.
Thank you.
Great, thank you so much. And so next up, we're going to take a quick 1 minute, just pause here, but Digital Divas, you're up next. And then Team 103 Neuro Support, if you could come down and sit in one of these front few rows, so you're ready to go next. And then Digital Divas, I think if you want to come up, Annabelle's taking care of something. Yeah, if you want to come up to stage, I can give you the clicker. And Annabelle's just sorting through some stuff, so I think we're good now. Yeah, if you want to come forward. Great, so we've got clicker. Awesome. And Annabelle will be keeping time. She'll let you know when there's 1 minute.
Picture this. It's pitch dark, you're feeling unwell, and you're completely alone. You need to take your medication on time. However, there's no one around to help you.
For many individuals with visual impairments, managing medication is a daily challenge. They struggle with identifying medication bottles, remembering the correct dosage, and taking their medication on time. These difficulties can affect their health and also increase the burden on caregivers.
To address these problems, we aim to create My Eyes, a smart medication management system designed specifically for visually impaired individuals. Our goal is to help users manage their medication independently while providing caregivers with greater peace of mind.
Unlike existing medication reminder apps, My Eye is specifically designed for visually impaired individuals. It combines braille labels for easier identification, LED indicators, vibration alerts, and caregiver notifications to create a safer medication experience.
When it is time for medications, My Eyes will alert the user through vibration and a blinking LED light. The user has 5 minutes to respond. If the medication is not taken on time, the SMS notifications will automatically be sent to the caregiver, allowing them to provide support immediately.
Through our mobile application, users or caregivers can send medication schedules, select medication types, and add emergency contact details easily.
My Eye is an affordable smart medication tool that costs only $11.10 to make and will sell for $18 to $20, making it much cheaper than similar products. You will be able to buy it easily online at pharmacies and at hospitals.
According to the WHO, there are approximately 43 billion blind individuals and 295 million people with visual impairments worldwide, showing the urgent need for more inclusive healthcare solution. My Eye is more than just a medication reminder. It's a tool that empowers visually impaired individuals to live more independently while reducing caregiver stress. Together, we can create a safer and more inclusive future. Thank you.
Thanks very much. I like that this is the first presentation that includes a hardware component. Have you had experience in blending apps and hardware in the past?
Pardon? Can you?
Oh, so you had the microcontroller there and the little computer testing whether the person has taken their medicine and doing those censoring.
We did try it before. There's one more slide that we forgot to include. Like when the patient forgot to take their medication, it can actually send the SMS to the caregiver. Yeah. And the caregiver can, through our app here, they can remind the individual, the patient, to take their medication. Does that answer?
So it sounds like this app is for people who have trouble seeing. I'm looking at the app, and it looks like a lot of the interface is visual for the app. Is there also an audio component for?
There is.
Okay.
This is for the caregiver.
This is for the caregiver, I'm sorry.
Yes. For the visually impaired individual, this is for them. There's audio where beeping sound and music can be played.
Have you discussed this design with someone who's visually impaired, and what was their feedback?
Yeah, we did. In our school, we have a class that is specifically for this, this OKU people. And one of the students there, they have like visually impaired problems. We did talk to them, and it was a very good feedback from them. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So next up, we have Team 103, Neuro Support, if you'd like to come forward. And then on deck is Team 107, RxBridge. So please make sure you're seated in those front rows if you're coming up next. Oh, they don't? Okay. Yeah, is Team 103 Neuro Support here? All right, great. In that case, we'll be moving on to Team 107, RxBridge. If you'd like to come forward, thank you. Awesome. So we have a clicker, we've got a microphone, and then Annabelle will be keeping time up front. So when there's 1 minute left, she'll let you know. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Isabella.
And I'm Jonathan. This is our app, HerbGuard, the safety check for everything you take.
This is Lucy. She's 58. Her cardiologist put her on a blood thinner. Her memory's slipping, so she takes ginkgo, which is a traditional Chinese herb that she got from her local grocery store. Nobody told her that both of them thin the blood. And Lucy's case isn't rare. Almost 70% of U.S. adults that take herbal supplements take prescription medicines at the same time. 1 in 6 older adults are at risk of a major interaction between herbal supplements and traditional medicine. 23,000 people end up in the emergency room every year because of supplements. And 2 out of 3 herbal users never tell their doctor if they're taking herbal medicine or not.
The solution that we developed for this problem is HerbGuard, a simple safety net that helps patients avoid dangerous medication and herb interactions. First, HerbGuard helps users create a digital cabinet of everything they take, including prescription medicines, over-the-counter drugs, and herbal supplements. Patients can add items by simply speaking, scanning the medication label, or taking a photo, making the process fast and easy. Next, HerbGuard automatically checks for potential dangerous interactions and flags them instantly. For example, it identifies ginkgo with warfarin as a serious interaction and turmeric with warfarin as a caution, so patients know when extra attention is needed. Finally, HerbGuard generates a doctor-ready disclosure card that summarizes everything that the patient is taking. Patients can share this card during their appointment, giving healthcare providers a complete picture of their medications and supplements so they can make safer, more informed treatment decisions. With HerbGuard, patients have a simple way to stay informed, reduce medication risks, and have better conversations with their doctors. RxBridge also gives all stakeholders real value. For patients and their families, RxBridge provides free, easy-to-understand information about potential interactions between herbs and medications, helping them catch dangerous combinations before they become emergencies. In some cases, that information could even be life-saving. For clinicians and pharmacists, RxBridge offers a more complete picture of what patients are actually taking, including herbal supplements that are often forgotten and never mentioned during appointments. Finally, for insurance companies, they benefit from fewer preventable adverse drug events, which can reduce unnecessary emergency room visits, hospitalizations, and the healthcare costs that come with them. Thank you for listening.
That's a very interesting idea. Have you seen examples on the rise? I know I take turmeric for my joints, and that has had some clinical evidence. And so people are taking, are you seeing that people are taking more herbal remedies out in the world? And then the second question is, did you see that there have been some downsides when it interacts with the medicine? So is this happening more?
I don't really know if it's happening more or not. I just, I chose to do my project on herbs because my grandpa and grandma actually use herbs for medicine, and I was looking into the risks of that. And could you repeat your second question?
Oh, no, you addressed it. That's great. Thank you very much.
When you talk to your grandparents about using something like this, what feedback did they give you? I'm curious how you're planning to convince people to use this to scan their cabinets.
They thought it was pretty interesting, and they didn't know that it could actually have harmful effects with the other medicine that they were taking.
How often do you expect that someone will need to use your app to scan their cabinet? Like, tell me what you've thought about in terms of the experience that someone might have using your app.
Well, the first time they use the app, they need to upload like all the things that they're taking, like all the herbs, all the medicine they're taking. And every single time they change like the medicine and herbs that they're taking, they would also need to update the app and see if there's any new harmful interactions. So maybe like depends on how much they change up their medications, but probably like once a week or maybe once a month.
Thank you for your presentation. If your herb or medicine is not in the app yet, what do you plan to do? For example, do you plan to work with any organizations or experts?
Could you repeat that? I didn't get the question.
Okay, if a herb or medicine is not in the app yet, what do you do? What do you plan to do it?
Probably like more accessibility, like maybe like add more text-to-speech components and maybe like a Chinese version, because my project is on traditional Chinese medicine, which mainly people from the Asian community use.
Thank you.
Great. Up next is Team 105, Japanese girls. Please come forward. Annabelle will be keeping time up front, and she'll let you know when there's 1 minute left. Okay.
Hello, we are Japanese girls. Traditional rehabilitation is often repetitive, with patients perform the same movement over and over again. Because of this, keeping patients motivated is an important challenge. My uncle still does rehabilitation every day. When I asked him, "Don't you get tired of it?" he replied, "No, I don't mind it. I just do it without really thinking." Of course, he still continued his rehabilitation, but his answer made me think. I believe that patients could engage more positively in rehabilitation if they wanted to do it because it was enjoyable rather than simply because they had to.
Research shows that motivation plays an important role in rehabilitation. Patients are more motivated when they can see their progress, work towards clear goals, and feel that the exercise connects to their daily lives. This means that making rehabilitation engaging is not just a nice idea, it is an important part of supporting long-term participation and recovery. To solve this problem, we designed a game that makes rehabilitation fun. We will create a grip shaft controller by squeezing it. Users can play a variety of mini-games, such as defeating monsters or squeezing fruits to make juice. We believe this allows users to enjoy the game while naturally continuing their rehabilitation.
This is our business model proposal. Our target users are children who live away from their parents. They always worry about their parents' health and want them to stay healthy forever. However, it is difficult to check on them every day. This service will help them. It is a subscription for individuals, and the price is $5 a month. It is, we think this price is easy for many people to pay every month. Also, we plan to add new games, stages, and stories regularly. Doing the same rehabilitation every day is boring, so people often stop. New updates will keep them excited and help them continue their rehabilitation for a long time. It is all. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much. It feels like a Nintendo Wii for getting better physical therapy, so it seems very valuable and exciting to be able to use this platform. I know that I think everybody has had a little bit of physical therapy in their life, and it is so boring. So have you had any experience or family members who've had to do work on an injury?
I'm sorry, is it means...
Do you have a personal example of an injury from yourself or a family member where you've had to do some kind of really boring...
Anna's uncle have a rehabilitation experiment, so we have idea from this.
And did you happen to talk to the uncle about this idea, and what did he say?
He said, "No, I don't mind it. I just do it without really thinking."
And is the app for children, or is it for older people?
It is application for older people, but subscription target is their family. Their payment for application, and older people use this.
I see. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great, thank you so much. And that concludes our presentation. So if we could give everyone a big round of applause.